Hi, and welcome to another episode of Money Talk. We don't just talk about money, we talk about ways to make money and how to monetize money from your own tools. And today I have a really special guest. Now, this guest has been doing this for a while, has a lot of name recognition and a lot of notoriety using one particular tool. She's also going to be on my summit, so this is a great time for me to plug my summit, the Perfect Pitch Summit that is going to be available on the May 28th, 29th, and 30th. And I'll be posting and posting. It is a free summit. You need to learn the right tools. You don't have to create a message for everyone, but you need to know how to customize your message for that platform. And in a moment, we're going to bring that guest on that's going to talk about this and talk about how you can monetize, make the kind of money that you're looking for with the right tools and the right platform. But right now, I have just two things I want to ask you to do. One is to, if you like what you hear, stop keeping it to yourself, share and like it, and subscribe to the channel so that you get notified when we're here. And stay tuned because we'll be right back. Linda gave me the courage, the confidence to move forward.
And after I was finished with Linda Kaye's training, I was at the next level.
It's Linda Kaye. When you trust that piece of you that says, I got something to give, I have something to say, you know you've got something to do.
Get on your feet, shake your hands in the air. Welcome to the stage, Linda Kaye.
And here we are. And I did tell you, we've got somebody really special. You know, I really just kept her on the summit to about 20 minutes, but we have a little bit more time to dig a little deeper, to deep dive into some of the things that you can do right now, without costing you a penny. It's going to cost you time, but how much time are you wasting doing the wrong things on LinkedIn? Now, many people think, oh, well, LinkedIn, it's just, for executives or for people that want to try to sell you something. And I'm just going to tell you what, you don't know how to use LinkedIn. And right now, I'd like to welcome to my show the expert, the perfect person to learn from, the beautiful and amazing Benita Samuels.
Wow. Wow. What an introduction, Linda. Thank you so much.
It's true, though, Benita. It is. It's so true. I started the show out with, get the right tools, get the right message. And I'm really, really a stickler, teach on the fact that there is the mastering of your message, but there is the mastering of your message on specific platforms. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely. Every platform attracts different audiences. You said something at the top of the show about people thinking that LinkedIn is just about professionals and for pitching your stuff. The reality is, there are 1 billion users on LinkedIn right now. And guess what?
What? Wait. Give me that number again.
1 billion users on LinkedIn now.
1 billion, right? Oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty phenomenal number. Now, who owns LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn was purchased by Microsoft back in 2016, the very end of 2016. And a little bit of background about that is when LinkedIn bought the platform, most of us probably remember that when LinkedIn started, by the way, pre-Facebook, people don't realize that, but when it started, it was really about a recruiting and a job board type of platform.
Right. I remember that.
Exactly.
So I still get, do you want to serve on a board? Do you want to get a this? Are you hiring? And there isn't any other platform that does that to my knowledge. So they haven't left their core competence, right?
No, they still have a very strong platform for recruiters, for people looking for jobs, and they use that effectively to promote those things. But when Microsoft purchased the platform, they recognized a huge opportunity in that it was already growing. Back then, it was like 725 million users, and they recognized that was an opportunity for the users to network and to share content, user-generated content,
right,
highly valuable. And so they have really very much stick to their commitment, which I'm pretty impressed with, to really continue to build the platform as a place for people to come, professionals, entrepreneurs, employed, retired, up and coming, to come and meet other people, share content, engage in content, and ultimately move those connections into conversations. Because as I say, we know the three C's when we talk about diamonds. Well, I like to think the 3 C's in business is connection, conversation, and cash. You can't generate cash without conversations. So use your connections on LinkedIn to start that process.
That means everything. It honestly does. Because I always say that, connections start with a conversation. Now, how do you start a conversation on a virtual platform? We all understand LinkedIn or understand Facebook and TikTok, and those are shorter formats, and they have pictures, and then Pinterest, which is pictures are worth 1,000 words. And LinkedIn, what's the right way to begin to engage with people?
Well, generally speaking, lots and lots of people are voyeurs on LinkedIn. And it's okay to be a voyeur if you want nothing out of it, if you only really just want for yourself. So the best way actually to start the conversations is when you see somebody's piece of content that you like. Obviously, you can like it, but the best way is to comment. Not oh, congratulations, or this is nice, but some thoughtful comment. That is going to start.
Give me an example of thoughtful comment here versus another platform.
So, well, other platforms, it may be happy birthday or,
Right.
Congratulations. In the LinkedIn world, if I was reading a post of yours and you were talking about the upcoming summit, I might say, Linda, congratulations on the summit. I'd love to hear who's going to be on the show. Or
Perfect.
Linda, so excited about the summit. When is it happening again? Those are
it's genuine connection. It's genuine communication, as opposed to, oh, congratulations, oh, happy birthday. Right.
The idea here is to elicit a conversation.
Correct.
To start to build that back and forth. I talk about years ago, probably 5 years ago, my husband and my daughter were in the other room, and I hear them arguing. Teenage daughters arguing with their dad, and I get up and I leave my office and I go into the other room and I'm like, what are they arguing about? Okay, they're arguing about Kim Kardashian.
Stop it.
Now, you might like Kim, you might not like Kim. What I do know is she took something bad and really turned it into positive and built a business, making money, as we're talking about, out of that. Well, they were arguing because my husband was saying certain things about Kim Kardashian from his point of view.
Okay,
of course,
fair enough.
the teen was saying, no, Kim this and Kim
Wrong
this
point
that.
of view, Dad.
Right. Well, obviously, my teen knows Kim because they're on social media together.
Correct.
Kim responds to comments. Kim is talking to them. So the thing about social networks in general is it is a false sense of reality.
Okay,
People think they know you simply by seeing you online. I'm sure that there are tons of people who feel connected to you and feel like they know you simply by watching the podcast or listening to you on the podcast every time you go live.
True.
And so when you do this and you start to build that engagement and that relationship, it makes it exponentially easier and faster to move somebody into a conversation in the chat and off platform. In fact, our data shows that for 3 genuine touches, so maybe it is a comment, maybe it's a sharing, maybe it is a reposting, 3 genuine engagements, you can move the engagement into the chat. So I've commented on 3 of your things, Linda. I now go into the chat and I say, hey, Linda, I've really been enjoying your content. Would you be open to a one-on-one conversation? 62% of the time,
Wow.
people say yes.
Now, my experience, Benita, has been when I get, I don't even see the first 2 things that they've done. Maybe they forwarded something, maybe they shared my show, maybe something along that line. But when I get a direct DM on a chat, they'll say, I really loved your content. I'd love to talk with you. I'd like to connect. And if I say yes, they're immediately trying to book a time to let's get into this and I don't feel like I'm ready to get there. They haven't earned the right to do that.
Right.
And I get that probably 80-90% of the time in LinkedIn. So my view of LinkedIn is many people will probably either share a similar experience or not, will probably agree that there's still a lot of that going on. How do we get away from that salesy stuff and get into the conversations that we want to have? Because I know you're going to next tell me about how to improve an algorithm and how LinkedIn is engaging. So I want our viewers to know, how do we get better at this?
Well, firstly, I have to address what you said about the spammy, stuff in your DMs. First and foremost, I have to apologize on behalf of many people. When we shifted to so much online stuff during COVID, LinkedIn became a highly popular tool. It was active and using by many people before that. But what happened is those people who didn't know how or don't know really how to strategically leverage LinkedIn as a tool,
right,
started using it as a cold calling platform.
It's not a cold calling platform. And that's exactly how I was getting tackled. And I'm not even say tackled. Because when you look at the message is genuine. They're throwing a compliment. I catch the bouquet. And now because I've caught the bouquet, I'm not really ready to engage in a conversation with them. So, So thank you for saying that and understanding that it isn't. Talk to us about, what the typical person is in LinkedIn. And I think you have a few slides for us as well.
Yeah. So, how about if you share here for a second,
Okay.
Because I know everybody hears about algorithms, and, they are elusive. We don't know them per se, but there are some things. If you are somebody who studies a platform like LinkedIn, I am a bit of a LinkedIn junkie, I have to tell you. But you learn and you see and you test and you start to understand some of the things that are affecting the algorithms within LinkedIn.
Okay.
And, engagement is probably the most powerful tool that you can use on LinkedIn. It's what's going to impact your presence. It's going to be the thing that impacts people looking at your profile more often. One of the things people don't realize is LinkedIn drives more traffic to your website than Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, X, combined, not just individually, but combined.
That is I'm going to have you repeat that, because I think there's a lot of people going, what? How is that even possible? But give it again.
So LinkedIn drives more traffic to your website than Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter combined. And I'm going to tell you why.
That's staggering.
Yeah. It's because when somebody is searching for you, if you have a well-crafted and optimized profile, you will find that more often than not, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up in search before your website or any of those other platforms. People do business with people. They're going to come to LinkedIn and check you out before they ever go to your website.
That is so true. That is really true. And you're right about that, because when I'm looking for somebody that isn't so famous that they would have a Wikipedia page. LinkedIn is a pretty reliable source for me to go source and find, what is this person about? And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, hello, ladies and gentlemen, you are in the business of communicating and connecting, and this is the place to do this.
Do you know that in universities today, they now require, well, most schools require a course that actually works with the students in creating their LinkedIn profile and teaching them how to use LinkedIn?
I believe it. I do.
Both of my kids have had LinkedIn profiles for some time, obviously.
Of course, no self-respecting
Yes.
an expert would allow that to happen.
So, when we're talking about engagement and the algorithms, so often we are voyeurs. We hang in the background, we're reading things. I'm a voyeur on Facebook, if I'm being very honest. I'll post periodically, but you can't be a voyeur on LinkedIn and make money as a result of your presence there.
That is an interesting concept, but wouldn't it be true that you can't really be a voyeur anywhere and try to make money?
Well, that's the point. I mean, people say, oh, I don't accept connections from people I don't know, or, I don't want to comment on somebody's post if I don't know them. And, would you go to a networking meeting and sit in the corner and not introduce yourself? No.
Well, that's just the same as going to a virtual event and page, they put a big X on the page and they're not there, right?
Yeah.
It's the equivalent to putting a bag over your head.
It's really foolish. And the thing about, the whole idea of connecting with people that you don't know, it's not Facebook. It's not a friends platform.
Okay.
It's a network. It's a business. It's a professional network. And I always say it's not really about who you know. It's about who they know. You don't know who their circle of influence is or their sphere of influence. So when you start to connect with people that are your second level connections, I always, the Kevin Bacon 7 degrees of separation.
Correct.
I might connect with somebody who knows you, Linda, that I don't know, but I see in their profile and say, oh, there might be some things here interesting, or they have done work in a particular area. So by connecting to them as a second level connection, one, I already have a point of credibility because I'm connected to you.
Correct.
And then it gives me the opportunity.
Isn't that kind of like, it's almost like the referral, right? Because referral is the highest form of flattery, but it's also the highest form of trust because you are passing your trust on to somebody else. So I see that you're connected with Linda Kaye, may have just a 2.5 degrees of separation, not the second degree, but through that reference, they're able to draw an inference of camaraderie or respect or even irritation. Oh, you're associated with her. I don't want anything.
Well, I tell all of my clients that you should be connecting with as many second level connections as you can, with the exclusion of people that you know for certain are either going just to pitch you,
right,
or are maybe working in a country where you know that you're not going to do business, or maybe they're somewhere where it does in an industry that's so far removed from what you do. Those ones I might not connect with. I might follow to check them out for a while, but generally speaking, I accept almost all of my second level connection requests, and I make a lot of second level connection requests. And interestingly, you don't have to put a message. You're already a second level connection, which is already giving you some validation. And more people will accept your connection request without a message, which gets back to your spammy DMs. COVID made everybody ignore those because it was just spam after spam after spam.
Right.
So a long way to get back to the original point that you made, Linda, is you might not be receptive to, I've been following your content. So you can manage that in a couple of ways. You can go in and see, you can go look at your your prior posts and see if this person has commented and engaged.
Okay.
Or you can say to them, which piece resonated with you? I'd love to know, because it gives me stuff to think about in the future.
Okay.
You can
Even better, right? Because now you've got a point of reference. Now I also know that you read my stuff. And if you said you didn't agree at the second point, I already know that you read the first. Maybe you didn't get past the second. Maybe you stopped, right? Because you disagreed. But it is far better than DMing me and going, hey, we really need to connect, and then get spammed.
Right. No, that's well, that's the truth. It is yucky. So, you talked about at the beginning the whole concept of monetizing and how can you monetize on these different platforms. So, I have a slide here, if you don't mind pulling up, Linda. I'm going to talk to you about Jane. Now, God's honest truth, Jane is real. Jane is her name. And when I was putting this together, I had picked Jane, and then the C Jane just kind of happened to work. So if you're of a certain age, you probably know the C Jane books.
C Jane.
So actually, I actually spoke to Jane today, ironically. So
that's really funny.
Jane was, she worked at one of our top 3 networks for 32 years. And during COVID, she was encouraged to retire.
Oh,
we understand what that means. Yes.
We sure do. Here's the door.
And she was so deflated. She loved and loves her work. And so she was referred to me because she was trying to figure out what she was going to do. Was she going to look for a job? Was she going to sell out her own services and be a contractor? But she is very, very old school and kind of reluctant. So Jane and I met, and she went through my master class, and we worked a little bit on her profile so that her story came forward. It really conveyed who she helps and what she does, and told her story in a way that you almost feel like Jane more closely because of the story she's telling you. Usually in her about, you want your about to be about you, not your business. And it should be in the first person, because generally we don't walk around and speak about ourselves in the third person.
Right. She was such a leader, right?
Right. No. So Jane and I worked together on that. And then we had to start to get Jane over the hurdle of engagement so that she could start to get into the algorithms and start to have her profile be noticed and come up in search. And so Jane really started with the most basic. And I have to tell you, Jane did not grow up in the social space. So this was a babysit process for her. But she started to like posts of people who fit into her target, and like posts for companies that she was interested in. And slowly, when she would do that, she then got to a point where she was like, you know what? I'm in here every day. I'm spending 15 minutes each day. And she took the leap of faith and she started commenting. So, here's Jane doing her liking, the basic stuff to get visibility. She starts to comment. And then lo and behold, I don't know if you can see on the screen, but this woman here, she commented, and now she has started a conversation with Jane right here on the platform.
Which is very cool. I mean, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people with like mind. You're looking for the person that's going to hold their hand up and go, I want to know more about what you're doing. I want to know how you're getting that, or what made you say that. That's true conversation. Now we're having a conversation.
The other thing about this, what has happened here, is that like money, as we're talking about it, we all understand the concept of compounding interest.
Yes, we do.
Well, when we talk about social networking, specifically on LinkedIn, these comments